Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Madad ya Sayyidi ya Sultan al-Awliya ma Shaykh Muhammad Nazim Haqqani. Madad ya Sayyidi ya Mawlana Shaykh Hisham. Qabbani anzur halana ishfalana wa abiduni bi madadakum wa nazarakum inshallah. Asking always to be nothing and enter Allah's oceans of rahmah. And alhamdulillah for Mawlana Shaykh's teachings, from ilm huroof and the understandings of huroof, and these are the knowledges of malakut. And Allah from the heart of Surah Yasin, from the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad describes that the hand of the malakut encompasses everything. That if we begin to contemplate that from the heavenly realm, because if we say in our associations the world of light, then the Muslims don't understand what you're talking about of world of light. It means for malakut. And the knowledges of the malakut, Allah describes in Surah Yasin that knowledge and the hands that have that knowledge encompasses everything. The malakut encompasses everything, means we know now that the world of light encompasses the world of form, because the world of form is hollow. What's inside the world of form are the atoms and the molecules and the qudra and the power, that the malakut is the power and the source of what making that form, allowing that form to appear. So it's not only the subtle world, but that subtle world controls even the physical world. Means that the malaika, the energies, the power and the reality exists within every form. Every form is moving by that energy. And from ilm huroof will begin to teach us to step towards the horizon, means elevate the understanding, and the way of marifat is to know. And the first thing they begin to teach is that everything from a distance has a certain color. As you approach the concept of marifat, is as you're approaching that reality, it begins to immensely expand. So they describe like a mountain from a distance. Mountain looks dark, black, but there's no mountain dark. As soon as you enter and begin to approach a mountain, you see it's huge. Colors, rivers, streams, so many realities, but at a distance it has a certain appearance. As soon as you begin to move and become from arifin, those who are seeking to know, Allah begins to expand infinite capacity of realities. On one understanding of the kalima Alif, Lam, Lam, Hey, Allah that they begin to teach us that nothing can encompass Allah. Nothing can truly understand Allah, nothing can contain Allah, especially the huroof. Means we have only an understanding when we say Allah, not that you know Allah, but merely Allah gave us a way in which to approach that reality. And from ilm huroof, Mawlana Shaykh begins to teach that the huroof will begin to teach us that nothing can contain Allah. There's no name that can contain Allah. There's nothing written on anything manifested that can contain Allah. They are merely signs directing us towards Allah. And that everything must be based on La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Means every haqqaiq and every reality that Allah wants us to move into, it must contain Sayyidina Muhammad. There's nothing for us beyond that. Means every reality must have an adab, must have a way. That way is within the ocean of Muhammad Rasulullah. We said last night that if not by the understanding of A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, every knowledge from Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is going to have a variation of reality. If we know the A'udhu billah, its reality is seek refuge, what we were reciting on the Qasida Burda. Means they were saying that, who can I seek refuge in other than you, Sayyidi Ya Rasulullah, through every calamity and every difficulty. Because Allah said, the heart of my believer is my house. I'm not in heaven and I'm not on earth, but I'm on the heart of my believer. Means Allah telling us, if you want to seek refuge in me, you'll find me in the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad. So it means be then with Prophet, love Sayyidina Muhammad. The Huroof begins to teach us that you cannot approach to understand the Alif. You have to go through the door of the Hay. When you're trying to understand a reality, you can't go from its apex. You have to enter through the door. Allah says, everything has a door, enter every house through its door. Begin to teach us in just the huroof of Allah. Hey, it stands for hidayat and guidance. Allah beginning to teach, you want to come to me, you want to come to my realities, then come to that hay, come to that hidayat and that guidance. And in the abjad realities, that hay has a value of 5. Because Allah describing, these are your senses. How are you going to use hidayat to reach Allah? That hidayat has to be through the senses. To hear, to see, to feel, to smell and to taste. That is what makes us and gives us the honour of our creation. That use your senses to reach towards your reality. And since this is not the level of mulk but from malakut and the world of light, they're teaching you have also your spiritual senses. Don't be so stuck on only what you hear from these ears, because Allah throughout Qur'an, they have ears but they don't really hear. What does that mean? They have eyes but they don't really see. They're lost on the illusion. The malakut and the world of subtlety, the atomic reality, the reality of energy and light, means then that hearing must be a hearing through the soul. You have a hearing through your ears and you have a hearing through your soul. You can hear with your ears and begin to discipline your ears. That's why the highest level of fasting is to fast with all the senses. Because the fasting of all the senses begins to open up the realm of the world of light. Means just through the hay begins to teach us, come through hidayat, come through guidance. And who's Allah's hadi? Is Sayyidina Muhammad. That guide to the Alif starts right here. The guide towards that reality is teaching us that come with your senses, because you're going to use your physical sense. Did you hear this message and did you accept? Because many people hear it but they're not truly accepting it in their soul. Are you seeing with your eyes its reality? Are you sensing and feeling? Are you smelling it and are you tasting it? And then they begin through every sense, they must be activated through the soul. You must begin to hear with your soul. And that's what Allah described, that when you approach me through voluntary worship and through love, I will become the hearing in which you hear, the seeing in which you see, the hands in which you feel, the tongue in which you speak, the breath in which you breathe. The whole hadith al-Qudsi means that there must be a soul hearing where you discipline yourself, stop listening to badness, stop listening to bad advice, stop and begin to fast with your ears. That I don't need to hear everything and everyone. If it's not from malakut, it has no value on my soul, it's a waste of time. Begin to see with your eyes, not what these eyes see of the bazaar and the market and the streets, but begin to close your physical eyes and train the eyes of the soul to begin to open. And that's only with tafakkur and contemplation, that when you isolate yourself and begin to play Qur'an and play salawat and lock yourself into a room and begin to breathe and say, Ya Rabbi, what these eyes are seeing of no value, let me to enter into a state of nothingness and train the eyes of my heart to begin to see. The more you can keep your eyes to be closed and train yourself through contemplation and tafakkur, the more the eyes of the soul will begin to open. What they call the khash. Allah begin to send images, begin to send a consciousness and awareness where you begin to see what people don't see. As you're controlling your hearing, you begin to hear what people don't hear. You hear the greater reality within your soul, that Allah dressing it. From the heavenly kingdom, Allah dressing the soul with all of its realities. Alam al-Qur'an, khalaq al-insan. Reaching back to what Allah taught us of realities. That hidayat they're teaching us, come to Hadi Allah and the guide of Allah, that the way of Prophet going to teach us, that you begin to train to how you're going to hear, how you're going to see spiritually, how you're going to open up your sense of feeling, not just the feeling of physicality but the sense of your subtle being, how to feel with your soul. And if you are a believer, you know that many times you go somewhere and you know in your soul that's not the place for you. You feel a sense of panic, that maybe you have entered into an area or somewhere or something is dangerous. This is a subtlety. Or if your heart is subtle, you feel the tajallis and begin to cry. You feel the emanation and the presence of the prophetic light. This is a subtlety. This is the sense of feeling with the soul, hearing with the soul, seeing with the soul, feeling with the soul. The feel and the touch that the whole being is activated. If those are all activated, now the rising of the malakut is to begin to smell with the soul. Seek that which smells nice and pleasurable. What they call aromatherapy is angelic reality. If you're rising with the reality of your soul cannot take bad fragrance, your soul cannot take bad smells, your reality can't take. They say the shaykhs, they can smell the dirt that people put upon their souls, and it smells worse than the worst sewage plant. It's a waste. It's like a smell worse than death of a rotting carcass, because the bad actions are causing a state of death upon the being and release a tremendous and horrific smell. This is from now the rising of the malakut and the angelic realm. All within the hay of hidayat is teaching that you begin to train, fake it until you make it, you begin to fragrance everywhere. So that you like good fragrances, you begin to fragrance yourself, knowing that these angelic beings, they don't like to come to bad smells. They don't like an environment of bad smells. They won't come, and if they don't come, their support will be cut. So you live your life off of your soul's reality. They're not living off of their physical reality. They depend upon what their soul can hear. They depend upon what their soul is witnessing, because they are from the people of haqqaiq. They have reached ilmu yaqeen. They have been granted in darajats aynu yaqeen. If this ilmu yaqeen and aynu yaqeen means they are walking in haqq yaqeen. They are walking within the oceans of their certainty. As a result, their sense, they live by that smell, by what they see, what they begin to smell. Their breath is the power of their zikr. Their zikr is through their soul and the energy that's dressing their soul. Their sense of touch, and then the highest of that hidayat is their sense of taste. So So then those who came from paradise most recently, all you see them do is put everything into their mouth. Little babies. You see them always hold their thumb for their energy and put everything into their mouth, because they came from the realm of reality. They came from the people of taste and they entered into the dead zone. The earth is the zombie walking, what do they call, walking dead. Amir convinced us to watch that show. He said, oh, everybody in Michigan watching them. I said, I don't think anybody watching that. A horrific show, but it was an analogy of dunya. Awliya Allah, they see this dunya, they are walking dead. There are smelly corpses and all they pursue is that which is evil and nasty. And they begin to teach your highest reality, dhawq is taste. That's why Allah wanted so much for us Ramadan. And the focus of the mouth and the focus of the abstinence, the focus of fasting was not just the fasting of once in one 30-day period, but was an entire life of fasting. Fast with your ears as much as you can, especially more rewards in this busy dunya. If they would have made us to live in Mecca and Medina, alhamdulillah, would have been great. Allah put us in the candy shop and say, there's more reward for you. Because every temptation is around your senses. Abstain and fast. Fast with your ears, fast with your eyes, fast with your breath. So that Allah can open the reality of tasting these realities. That is under the control of Sayyidina Muhammad. That the alif, lam, hay is a direction towards the Divinely Kingdom, but in no way should we think it is a description of Allah. Allah la shareek, la shabi. Merely direct yourself to the kingdom. The alif begins to teach us that I'm not connected to anything, but I can support everything. They're all separate. When Allah wants to show us support, they merely write this alif upon that lam. The alif hits the lam like that. You're focusing here, cameraman? You're taking notes? This alif shaykh is always by itself, because you're pursuing Allah. Allah is a mystery, always keeping that no partner with me. But when I want to show my support, I merely begin to write it like that my alif is supporting, my izzah is supporting. Begin to teach, now this is the way of Marifat. You're on a journey towards realities. You start with hidayat and guidance. So Prophet comes to perfect your hidayat. That Allah gave you senses, use these senses to reach your reality. Use your God-given gifts that make you to be different than a baboon and reach your guidance and reach the malakut. Don't be stuck on just the physical world guidance. How many times to make wudu, how many percentage of your zakat. This you need that, but move towards the heavenly realm and that which is eternal, which is the soul. And they begin to take us with this hidayat, come to this lam. And they begin to open the reality of the lam is lisan al-haq. So when we read Holy Qur'an, when you come across the hay, it has a reality within hidayat. Any word that has hay has some flavor of hidayat. Because the ilm huroof, Allah describing the word that you know from mulk has maybe completely different understanding in malakut. But the huroof of it is Allah's ingredients. If it put a little bit of hay in every word that you read, it must have a flavor of hidayat in it. The lam has to do with the reality of lisan al-haq, the tongue of truth. We said for every manifestation to begin, for Allah to grant an existence, for a universe to come into existence, it must be spoken. And Allah speaks to no one but Sayyidina Muhammad. That's why we're reading Holy Qur'an to Prophet. And we're not talking physicality, we're talking about the world of light. When Allah's irada and Allah's will wants to be known, it must be for us everything through La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, and then Prophet gives the order for all of creation. When Allah wants to bring creation into existence, must go from the will and begin to give the permission to manifest upon the tongue of truth known as Sayyidina Muhammad. So every time we see a lamb has to do with a mulk, a creation coming into existence, has to do with the secret of the tongue of Sayyidina Muhammad, because nothing comes into existence without Prophet speaking it. Allah giving the order, Qul, and Sayyidina Muhammad kun fayakun. Kun fayakun is inheritable. That's why the hadith of Qudsi. Come, I be your hearing, your seeing, all the way till you become Rabbaniyun and you have power of kun fayakun. Because the more your will is submitting to the will of ulul am, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Atiya Allah, Atiya Rasul, wa ulul amri minkum. The more your will submits to the ulul am, the more your will submits to Prophet, the more your will has submitted to Allah. So no doubt what comes into your heart begins to manifest. Many awliyaullah merely want something within their heart. It's what Allah wants, what Prophet wants, what their ulul am want. Immediately they put it into their heart and it begins to manifest. And this is the world of malakut. And they're teaching, kun fayakun is for Sayyidina Muhammad. Qul is for Allah. And Qul is teaching us that Qaf wal Qur'an al Majid can only go to the Lamb, and the only Lamb for Allah is Sayyidina Muhammad, Lisan al Haq. And the ulul am, they are the tongues of truth. They inherit from the tongue of Sayyidina Muhammad wa Lisan al Siddiq. So then this Lamb closest to Hidayat is representing the world of form, what they call the mulk. Lamb closest to Hidayat is the world of form. Why form? Because Prophet speaking it, everything in the material world that manifesting, because you're now moving from mulk to malakut. Means come through of Hidayat to the mulk of Allah, the kingdom of Allah that manifesting. You can't go malakut first, you have to go mulki wa malakut. That's why awliyaullah come in the huroof and they teach, when you put this alif, you put it upon the lamb closest to the hay. Because Allah teaching, come to my mulk, come through my hadi, and you find my power and my qudra upon his heart. And that's why the hadith, I'm not on heaven, I'm not on earth, but I'm on the heart of my believer. The believer of Allah is Sayyidina Muhammad. All of these are in hadith. That's why the alif is always moving. And qalb al-mu'min baytullah. So they move the alif onto that lamb to teach that Allah's izzah is upon that reality. So then in dunya we have to come through hidayat and say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then you entered in now towards paradise realities. From there Prophet takes us to the second lamb, and that is the kingdom of the heavens, where Prophet described that I was a Rasul before Adam was between clay and water. Means in malakut, I am Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am Habibullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Means Prophet's risalat and messengership is eternal. In the world of light, the only one who represents Allah is the soul of Sayyidina Muhammad. When you enter into the nur, the Divinely presence of that nur, that is the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad. And nobody can pass that reality to go towards Allah. That's why Isra wal Miraj. That even Sayyidina Jibreel clarified that I don't go beyond this limit, because there's nobody between Muhammad Rasulullah and La ilaha illallah. And that is Qawba Qawsayni aw Adna. That there is no one in between. Bayna Ahad wa Ahmad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is only the meme of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Begin to teach us that the lam, hey, everywhere in it is found Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alif is Zatullah is moving. Every time you see lam, hey, Sayyidina Muhammad is in there. So what they call that from the Arabs is masiwa Allah, all that's other than Allah. Because Allah Izzat can only be found in the Alif. When you see lam, hey, there's a reality of Sayyidina Muhammad in there. So now when you're reading Holy Qur'an, they want us to understand that there is a reality of Prophet. When the Alif is moving, this is the way of Marifat. That Allah merely puts izzah on the lamb and says, my izzat upon this lamb, giving it its power. And beginning to teach that when you open the lamb, how they said that they can go into the darajats of knowledge of the huroof, they can take the one huroof and begin to open it. From the understanding of lam, they can open it into 3 more levels of reality. That within every lam must be a lam, alif and a mim. Again Allah proving for us that even the lam has my izzah, and closest to you is the mim of Sayyidina Muhammad. Means that reality is containing that reality. So when Mawlana Shaykh was teaching, this is the reality of Marifat, that you must come to the guidance of Prophet and begin to open the reality of the kingdom of form, the kingdom of the heavens, the subtle reality, to reach towards Marifat of Allah. And Allah is always a hidden treasure wanting to be known, and will be known through the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad. So when they're teaching Holy Qur'an, Surah Al-Baqarah starts with Alif, Lam, Mim. All of Holy Qur'an will be found in that understanding. Izzatullah through the Lam and the tongue of truth will be known to you as Muhammadun Rasulullah. So when they say nobody knows those huroof, that's incorrect. They don't know what that huroof means. But Allah has taught many that reality. And those are the keys in which they enter into the reality of Holy Qur'an. That is the key in which dresses their being and their soul. That from that Alif, Lam, Mim is the whole story of creation. That always Allah's izzah is dressing the tongue of truth. And the only way towards that reality is through the Muhammadan reality. And that's why Allah describes the Mim like a habl, that hold tight to the rope of Allah and don't separate. The rope of Allah is the rope of that Mim. When the Mim is coming down, it's a rope towards humanity. The Prophet's reality is a rope towards this understanding. And all realities from that Alif, and they begin to open the Alif, and from within the Alif you will find Alif, Lam, Fa. Just from Izzatullah, that Alif, Lam, Mim is a description that everything is contained in that reality. Whole story of creation from Izzatullah is coming to the lisan al-haq and will be known to you as Sayyidina Muhammad. What Allah wants from us is reach maqam al-mahmud, come towards the reality of Prophet, and the whole story of creation will be dressed upon you. If awliyaullah go into the alif and begin to open the alif becomes alif, lam, fa, which is a description of Allah's opening of al-Fatiha. And all Qur'an in 7 verses of Fatiha. Means that's how they begin to show that that story of creation can be unfolded with the reality of the huroof, and a deep understanding between this lam and alif is signified by lam jalala, that the way towards Allah is based on la. So la ilaha illallah, the la upon the head means don't use your head. Lam alif means no, la. But this is a deep meaning. This lam is for the tongue of truth known as Muhammad Rasulullah. The alif for la ilaha illallah. When you combine them become la. Means all the reality is based on that la. That la is the sword of Sayyidina Ali salam. We talked about it when we talked about Sayyidina Ali salam. Zulfiqar is the lam alif. Given, it was the sword of Sayyidina Muhammad salam, given to Sayyidina Ali salam, because he is Babahu. This is the city of knowledge. And the one who was holding, Imam Ali salam, was holding the secret of lam alif. Because these two shaq, they're coming, these are the heads of the sword. That they come out to take the head off. That's why the first zikr for every tariqah is la ilaha illallah. Means the way towards reality is not through head. Where you sit and contemplate, that doesn't make sense. The head has no capacity for that reality, it's based on the heart. And begin to teach every reality is in understanding la, la, la. The Ya Rabbi, let me to lose my head and open my heart. So it's la ilaha illallah, illallah, illallah. Because that nur of faith has to enter into the heart. That nur of faith enters the heart and begin to shut off the head. They want the head off, and they want the heart to be like a sun. If the heart is a sun, a shamsi wal qamar, your head must be like a moon, not a sun. If your head is like a sun, means it's constantly thinking and double thinking and trying to contemplate what he's saying is wrong. But the sun, it just shines, it polishes. The sun shines and the moon polishes. When the moon is polishing, that I don't know, the reality of the sun can begin to shine upon the moon and become what they describe Prophet was a full moon. Means every reality in that lam alif. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi siri Surat al-Fatiha.